Deloitte Real Estate has been producing the London Crane Survey for about 20 years, and the Crane Survey is a bit of a metaphor. We go out and sort of obviously understand construction, in the recent period we've seen a significant amount of construction. So the fact we've dropped 9% in this last period to 12.6 million square foot of construction, as you say, is really a function of some of that construction, coming to a conclusion. Yeah. And we've seen a slight decline in the sort of the amount of construction that's starting. So the tagline for the survey this year is sort of approaching with caution. I think developers are sort of, taking things forward slightly more cautiously.
But not panic stations?
Absolutely not. The 12.6 million is where we're at. The long-term 10-year average is 10 million. So we're still well above that. So there's no great decline in that sense.
And very interestingly, over the last 6 months, while developments in the city have sort of slowed down by about 11% on 6 months ago, in the West End up 20%.
Yep, no, that's true. So there's almost more starts in the West End than we've ever recorded before. The West End tends to be smaller developments, but the West End is quite busy at the moment.
And presumably the opening of Crossrail next year, will that give it another shot in its locker, or is that all priced in, if you like?
Quite a lot of, where the Crossrail stations are is obviously well known, and a lot of that is planned. But you're right that those new stations always create a sort of a demand, and a sort of a demand in those new areas. So that does sort of create a changing environment.
And I guess we have to wait now for Crossrail 2 to give it the next sort of leg of the of growth. What about the cost of building materials? Is that having much of a bearing on activity?
Cost of building materials is quite difficult. You might expect, as you sort of come off the sort of construction, and construction declines a bit, that the cost of construction would come down, and I'm sure developers would prefer to see that. The reality is, though, that combination of the impact of Brexit and the decline of sterling has meant many of the materials that we buy, if we buy them from Europe or buy them from the US, are actually costing us sort of 20% more. So material price has added into some of the cost increases we've seen in recent years. So actually construction prices, we do a complementary survey at the same time and go out to about 300 sort of trade contractors and subcontractors in the market to understand how they see the market. And they're still seeing prices rising. Not as much, but they're still seeing prices going upwards at the moment. So that's difficult. Developers would rather see it come down.
All right, Mike Cracknell from Deloitte. Good to have you on. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.